Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 51 of Daffy's Roundtable. So, I know in the last episode, episode 50, I said I'm not going anywhere, and then I disappeared for a very long time. Let me catch you guys up very quickly. So, some of you may know this, some of you may not know this. I started working for the Canadian Pet Expo, and in 2 weeks, 2 weeks, the Fall Canadian Pet Expo, the Canadian Reptile Breeders Expo, the Plant Expo, and the Canadian Aquatic Expo are all happening, and that's actually why I'm recording this in the car. Life has been crazy. It's been all over the place. Turns out putting expos together is a lot of work. But anyway, so I've made you guys wait long enough. We're going to get back to the episodes. I have a bunch of really cool episodes recorded. So let's get to episode 51. Okay, so episode 51, we decided to do this a little bit differently. Trying more of just a hangout format. Let me know if you guys like this, and maybe we'll do more episodes like this. So my guest returning once again, my good friend James from Top Shelf Gecko, and like I said, we're kind of just hanging out. We're gonna be talking about collared lizards, monkey-tailed skinks, what he's bringing to the expo, just random reptile care and husbandry, and basically just like you're sitting down and hanging out with another reptile keeper. So yeah, let me know if you enjoy this format. And before we get into it, another thing, if you are in Canada and planning to come out to any of those expos, you can use the code Daffy3 to get $3 off your ticket. And before we get into this episode, allow me to thank Exoterra for sponsoring this podcast as always, and for making this episode possible. Exoterra makes quality products for our pet reptiles to make them feel at home. Okay, let's get into the episode. Everyone, please welcome James of Top Shelf Geckos. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back, I guess.
Yeah, right. Three now?
Three, yeah, I think so. Thank you very much for coming on once again.
Yeah, no problem, man. Always enjoy it.
For sure, me too. Likewise. So funny thing is, last episode was episode number 50. And in the intro, I said, it's episode 50 and I'm not going anywhere. And then I proceeded to disappear for like 3 months. So thank you for bringing me back into it. We're getting the ball rolling again.
Yeah.
This is going to be kind of like a hangout session. Just me and James are going to hang out. We're going to talk reptiles and do the good stuff. Exactly. So yeah, let's just dive right in, man. How's everything been? How's the summer been for you so far? I know a lot of babies have been hatching.
Yeah. I mean, summer's like as a reptile breeder, summer's a busy time, but it's also like a really stressful time, right? Because like you're outputting your most money that you do at any point in the year. Your lighting goes up. Like the amount of baby collared enclosures that I'm just pumping, basically like 75 watts each into each enclosure that are going right now. Like people don't consider that, but that's actually like pretty substantial costs. The feeders go up. So it's like, it's one of those things like summer is like, it's great. It's beautiful out. I love it. There's lots of babies. The babies are enjoyable, but like financially summer, especially this summer, if you talk to most people in the industry, they're like, it's
been a rough summer.
It's been a rough summer, but like everything is, right? Like you go to the grocery store and like you see your favorite thing to eat and you're just like, I don't like you anymore. And it's strictly because of price.
I can't afford to like you anymore.
Yeah, I used to love chocolate almond milk. And now I look at it and I'm like, I miss you, but no,
I can live without you.
Yeah, I can. Water is so good.
Water's so good and free.
Yeah, right. Little lemon juice. It's good.
100%. Do you keep the collars together? Or do you keep them separate?
I keep them together. Yeah, it would be completely financially not feasible for anyone to do that, right? Like a clutch can be anywhere from, our smallest clutch this year was 3. Our biggest clutch was 9. They can have more than 9 as well. So like again, that number I was just talking about with having each enclosure about 75 watts, I could cut that down a little bit. Like, you could go down to probably the Arcadia. I use the Arcadia 50 watts and they're hung pretty high. I could use like the new 30 watt halogen, I think it is, and move it, closer. Like I could make adjustments, but wattage wise, I'm still going to be pushing just so much.
What do you keep I think I asked you this last time, but what do you keep the hotspot at?
For the babies?
Yeah. Or is it the same as the adults? Or
no, I keep them. I keep them fairly similar. The adults probably get it like a little. I give them spots that are a little bit hotter. I'm really big on like your basking area being able to provide like a pretty large gradient of belly heat. So most of my adults basking spots, if they want, they could find a spot up to 110. Whereas the babies 105 would be my peak. I prefer to keep it just like if I can keep 100, it's perfect.
Okay. Yeah.
I find they do really well at that. And then when they hit, once they hit a couple months old and they're like fairly established, then like they can get it a bit hotter as well. They are just very like gangly little babies. So
I saw the video you
last.
posted.
Yeah. So like there's not much to them. So at first,
tripping over its foot, I died.
Yeah, everyone always is like in the wild, lizards just come out ready to go. I'm like, no, man, like they still gotta you think of like the one everyone thinks about is baby deer, right? Because when a baby deer comes out, it's all wobbly. That's just everything. Baby. They all need to be like, oh, I have muscles, bones, how does that work? And like move a bit, right? So yeah, it's like everyone doesn't associate that with reptiles, but they are just as clumsy fresh out of the egg.
Yeah, and I think people that don't see that are maybe like seeing the babies 24 hours after they hatch in the incubator and kind of like they've already sort of gotten that used to that and all that.
Yeah, that was why in that video I showed it the next day, because it doesn't even look like the same lizard. It looks way bigger and just,
crazy.
Yeah,
and the brightness on the colors.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's just they shed out like pretty much instantly. Day one out of there, and they just look. It's just like, oh, you look double the size and you're completely different colors than you just were.
Yeah, it's crazy. Actually, I find that it's probably most reptiles that shed on day one, right? Like I know with snakes, they won't feed them till their first shed and stuff like that. But yeah, it's crazy that all of them will. It's almost like for crested geckos, for example, you get this little thing and you're like, how do you resemble anything like what your parents are? And then first shed and you're like, I see the colors now. Or any other species. It's very interesting for sure.
Yeah. With the with like the racks, like all the new cow geckos, I incubate everything on vermiculite, but I find with them especially because the cresties shed so quick out of the egg. If an animal sheds while it's in vermiculite, there's a high they'll eat their sheds, right? It's a nutritious first meal. So they can end up eating the vermiculite. And I've seen it, I've seen people post it on Instagram. I've seen it in person. It is like, it is a thing that can happen, but it can also happen with any of the other incubation mediums. It's really important for most reptiles, like when they hatch, to get them out of whatever they're in fairly quickly.
You try to get them out of there like immediately.
Yeah. Like again, doing this, like as I'm here all the time. So I check the incubator probably a little too much.
Probably a little too First much. Thing I do when I wake up, after an hour.
I literally don't do anything in the morning. The first thing I do is go walk into the incubator room and I check the waiting for the chewies right now, and then I open up the collared incubator, because it's all the new cow eggs are outside of, they're just in the room, and then the collards are like in an incubator. So then I check them and then I go get coffee.
even if the eggs were laid yesterday, you still got to check them.
You got to look for mold or whatever.
100%,
right? Yeah,
100%. Yeah. Do you incubate anything else in the same incubator as the collards, or is it just like collared incubator?
No, I incubate the fat tails in there as well.
And as well? Okay, so they kind of similar temperatures?
Yeah, 85. Yeah, 85 gives me like I don't want to say a decent split, because some years I'm like, oh, it's a decent split. And then people are like, hey, do you have a male? And I'm like, no, I don't have a single one.
Is that collards or fat tails?
No, fat tails. Okay. Yeah. The collards, I haven't really heard anything about temp sexing. So what I'm doing it at, I've been getting really good ratios,
50,
pretty even.
Kind of.
Yeah, close to it. So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I also saw you post the other day something about sexing gargs. This might have been yesterday, actually. Sexing gargs isn't really sexing gargs. It's always a female. Is that like a common thing? And is that something that you see in African fat tails as well?
No, yeah. So I said sexing gargs isn't really sexing gargs. It's just playing a game of find the male.
Right. That's what. Yes.
Gargs are notorious. If you don't incubate them a certain way, that you'll pretty much get probably like 95% females.
That's very interesting.
You need to keep them a little bit hotter for the first bit of incubation, and then move them to somewhere cooler. Some people just straight up keep them hotter. That's what I do. I keep them. My garg eggs are in a room that's about 80.
And that's to push getting more males?
No, it's more so because that's what the room sits at, and I'm good with that. I would say this year, now that I'm using that room as like the incubator room, opposed to where I had them last year, I did get a lot of males this year.
Okay.
Opposed to, yeah, it was funny. I made that post because I had gone through like 6 guards, and I knew I was like, I didn't find a single male. I'm not going to find one. At the next like 3 I sexed, I saw a porn.
Male.
I was like, male. I think I went on to find like 2 more. I was just like, okay, that's okay.
Do I delete the story or do I just leave it up?
I have one of my friends messaged me laughing, and I just said, I think I'm winning the game.
Yeah.
So many males.
Yeah. That's very interesting. So I guess males are probably a lot higher in value too.
Yeah, it depends. Like if the male isn't, because people want good genetics, right? So if the male isn't crazy good looking, it'll be a bit more expensive, but it's not gonna shoot the price up. But if you get like a crazy red or a crazy orange male, then yeah, at that point it does.
That makes sense. I don't know too much about guard morphs, but I like for the past like 6 or 7 years, constantly keep hearing about that one from Tiki's Geckos, Deadpool, I think it's called. Yeah. Is it true that all the red lineage that we have here is from the, or do you even know anything about this? Apparently, everything we have here in Canada is from that one, or all the reds we have is from that one gecko. Probably not, right? Yeah. Okay.
No, they would. Most of the nice gargoyle geckos that people have in Canada are from like the big breeder in Canada. So
the big breeder in Canada.
I don't know. That's weird for people to say because we've literally had one of the longest running breeders. Like,
yeah,
I don't know that. Yeah, that's a weird statement.
No,
like,
it's true though.
There is probably Deadpool babies because there's a lot of really good guard breeders in Canada. They've probably imported that line, but to say like all the reds in Canada or all the nice reds, I don't know what the statement was, but yeah, there's so many. There's a lot of really good New Caledonian breeders in Canada breeding really nice reds that aren't from that line.
Yeah, the statement actually was exactly, it was all the reds, not just
that's just wrong. Yeah. They come from like Rapashi lines, like probably like with these guys, like that's the thing. A lot of these guys have been doing this for like
years,
decades. Yeah. Tiki's been doing it for like maybe like 15, 20. I'm not too sure. I don't know too much about him, like in his like backstory kind of stuff.
For sure,
But yeah, he bought from those guys.
Definitely.
So,
so I guess to say that it's all
it's a weird statement. It's a really weird statement.
It's all had to come from somewhere before, right?
Exactly. And and most of, again, there's not a big pool of those geckos. I always forget the number because like it's small though. It's not a big amount. So like, yeah, to be like they all came from there. It's like, well, there was people that got those geckos originally and they started doing the things that we're now just sort of building on. But it's not to say that if people, that line is still like an amazing line. Like it's really red. It's crazy. But yeah, no, all the reds in Canada did not come from that.
It wouldn't have made sense. Like, it was probably a stupid question. Anyway, it wouldn't have made sense genetically, right? Like they probably would have been screwed up by now if they all came from that one guy.
If they all came from that one gecko, and just like I think that gecko's still breeding.
I think so
right now. So I don't think it's over 10 years old. And there's been crazy red guards in Canada for way more than
a long time. Have you been working with guards for a long time?
No, I've like taken care of other people's collections of guards. But I've only been working with them for like 3-4 years. I kept them before, like I had pet guards. But I didn't breed them. It's more of a new thing. I had a friend who was having a kid, the common theme, and they were like, I'm getting out. I have these really nice guards. Do you want them? And I got them, and I kind of remembered how much I liked them. They're a really fun gecko. They're probably, besides the lychees, they're the most vocal New Caledonian. When you pick them up in a way they don't like, they give you the funniest little like noise.
Yeah.
So, I just love that. I was like, sorry.
That's what would you say? Okay, I guess you kind of already answered this, but guards or cresties?
Oh, Gargs.
Right?
Even Bree, my wife, like I know you know her, but just for listeners,
For sure, yeah, yeah.
she loves Cresties. That's how she got into reptiles, was Cresties. And I have a pair of Cresties, which I won't be breeding again. Um, but she wanted to come down and just see the babies because she loves Cresty babies. And she picked one of mine up, and mine are just wild. They're insane. It like ran up to her shoulder in like a millisecond, leaped off of her onto another enclosure,
All over the
climbed
place.
behind. Yeah. And I was just like, so they're all like this. Do you want to keep opening them?
You want to keep going?
Yeah. But my Gargs, I opened a Garg and I was like, here are the Gargs, and they're just chill.
You
All my
chill?
Gargs are
Yeah,
chill.
even
Yeah,
even as
and I wouldn't say that's like a status quo. Like
right.
Cresties are usually pretty chill. I think part of it is like
Are the pair
inbred,
you bred? Well, yeah, I'm sure that plays
but
something as well. Yeah, are the pair you
yeah,
bred calm, or are they also like crazy?
she's fairly calm. He's wild.
He's
He
wild.
is wild. He's wild.
Do you think that has anything to do with the babies being wild?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's an interesting question though, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I've almost like I wouldn't say as far as experimented or tested, but I've tried to keep an eye on like, okay, this baby's fairly calm. Who were the parents? And I've sort of, again, I don't want to say like, oh, I haven't done a scientific study on this, but there sort of seems to be a correlation. My craziest males babies were all crazy.
Every time I've done the same thing, because like I think that would be kind of the pinnacle of breeding reptiles as pets, right? If we could keep
Control their
getting them to
personality,
that,
kind of.
control
Yeah,
their personality enough, or get that instinctive fear of
out of them. Yeah,
out of them, of us. But then I always do the thing in my head where there's so many species that are good. They're just good handlers. And then there's so many that are just bad handlers.
yeah.
And it's like, and that's what always throws me. I'm like, am I just seeing the species being the species, or is it that I've maybe passed on some inherent, I don't want to call it not trust, because you can't pass that on, but so we've removed some sort of fear in generations. But then I go back to it, and there's always like, but is it just because it's a collared lizard? Because most of them are pretty chill. Like
Yeah,
they're, once they get past a certain size, they're all
chill.
pretty chill. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know, but like the emerald tree skinks, for example, my original pair, wild caught, crazy, psychotic. Female slowly starting to like accept to like come on my hand a little bit, whatever. Male will take things off tongs for me, but the second I like flinch, he's gone. I can reach in and pick up the babies, no problem. So it's like it's also a thought of like, what if those kept those babies and bred those babies, and it's are they just getting calmer, or is it they were hatched here, so I was one of the first things they saw. I'm the one bringing them food. They're just instinctively, not instinctively, that's not the right word. They're just getting used to getting calmer at time. Or so yeah, I don't know. It's something I think about very very frequently as well. It's
Yeah, no,
interesting.
I think when I come down to that one is probably the latter. Like I feel like it is because we've raised them
Mm-hmm.
that they're not afraid of us. Because like even when you think about buying a captive bred animal, like a lot of people, they'll buy a gecko from me. The fat tails, I probably get this the most, and they're like, "Oh, it hates me." Like you said, they're really good at being handled, like, and I can't handle it. I'm like, it's been a week.
Yeah,
Like
give it some time.
it's been a week. You can't be
Yeah,
bothering it already. Like I have a fat tail that I've had now for 11 years. And like when I open his bin, he literally, no fear, out of his hide, starts walking over to me. Like there's no, he knows it, but they're not dogs and cats. They don't quickly get it. It's not it they the trust, it can't be broken. I would more associate it with a bird. I don't know if you've ever dealt with birds like
yeah.
parrots. You cannot break their trust. If you
You do
break
it
their
once, it's done.
trust, it's done. And if you can get it back, you can't even make the slightest little flinch that they might associate with what happened last time. So it's just, Yeah, I would put them more on that, but you're working with something that's maybe not as intelligent. So you need to very much go slow. I tell a lot of people under and slow. A lot of reptiles with the third eye, it's going to catch shadows over their heads. So you
What do you
want
mean
to
by
just
under? Like kind of scoop instead of pick
yeah,
up? Is that
under.
what you're
Just
saying?
yeah, under. I try to always go under. The only time I really grab one of them is if I'm like worried about its health and
Right.
I need to examine it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't like grabbing things. I'm all about the scoop.
All about the scoop.
All about the scoop. Scoop them up.
For sure. Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. And I think another big factor that people don't consider is the size difference between us and like a tiny gecko. Like you're staring at a giant, like you're bound to be scared.
Yeah.
But also I'm gonna jump in on a quick, so the bird thing. So I grew up with an African gray parrot. So I had him for a very, very long time. And he became fairly social. He'd be okay with going on any of my friends' shoulders, whatever we talk. And then one friend, I can't remember exactly what it was, but made a wrong move, and he kind of jumped off him. And for like 4 years after that, he never forgot. The parrot never forgot. He never forgot the friend. He like it would be like four people there, and he'd be okay with the three of them, and then that one person's like you could tell he has a grudge. So you're right. You can't break a bird's trust. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
they're so smart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you ever think of getting into birds? I know it's a reptile podcast, but do you ever think of getting into birds?
Birds that I would want live a very long time. And they are very companion oriented.
Mm-hmm.
If I left the reptiles, I could be like, hey, Fatty, you want to come stay in my house and chill in the middle of nowhere? And you can have people, I can offer someone to like
for sure
money.
Yeah.
Or there's things that I can do so I can go away.
Yes.
With a bird, I feel like you have a responsibility almost.
It's like a child almost.
They very much require you. So I don't think I could. I kind of feel like the same way about tortoises, where like I love tortoises, but they live so long. Not the companionship part, because they don't really care as long as they're getting fed something. But I don't want to be like, I'm not having kids, so I don't want to leave behind a tortoise to I don't even know. Yeah, my best friend's kid who like likes reptiles. No, she loves reptiles. So
this is an actual person. I thought you were just giving an example.
No. My best friend who has nothing to do with reptiles.
Okay.
His kid, who I had never even met, just fell in love with reptiles without meeting me. So now she's just like my favorite thing on the planet. I'm always just like sending them reptile things, and I'm like, I'll get her a gecko when she wants a gecko. Like, I want to build the love of reptiles in this kid. No fear of snakes, nothing.
That's awesome. What does your best friend think of it? Is he happy?
He loves it because it's like she's happy. Yeah, that's all he cares about. She loves it. It makes her happy, right?
And also, I feel like why be scared of something when like it's always easier. I don't know if this even makes sense. It's always going to be easier to not be scared of something than it is. Even if you don't want to have it, even if you don't want to handle it, just having a fear of snakes is gonna probably never, but you could come into a situation where that could affect you. Whereas if you're not scared of them, kind of like whatever. This guy walking down the street with a snake, like I know people who are so scared of dogs they'll cross the road when someone comes walking down the street with a dog. Right? It's like
you've met my dogs.
Yeah, it's true.
They're so sweet.
They're so sweet. Yeah, 100%. But for people that aren't used to it, it's like a big dog walking towards you. They're gonna cross the road. Whereas, like I guess that's the point I'm getting across. Like if you don't need to love them, but not having the fear is definitely an advantage for I think anybody.
Yeah, and I think even the fear is part of where you get the people being like, people shouldn't have reptiles. They'll make them sick or they'll kill them, or it's just like, I don't know, it's always such ridiculous things where it's just like, you don't need to do it. Just kind of like, I always look at it this way. Everyone in the world probably does something that somebody else hates.
It's true. It's true.
So if it's not affecting you or the animals, obviously, then mind your own business.
Yes. And also, if you don't understand what you're talking about,
yes,
also mind your own business.
Yes.
Yeah. Greg and I took Wilma out the other day, and this lady came up. She was like, "It's too hot for this lizard outside." And we're like, "It's too hot for a savanna monitor from 10 times hotter than this on like it's the only day of the year we could probably have her out, And
you gotta like, people don't realize how much you gotta like bake monitors. They're like
yeah.
You're almost cooking them. Some of them want to be like cooked.
Are collards comparable
In heat?
Yeah, no.
Monitors, some monitors want it like 140.
Yes, I've heard this. Yeah.
Like
See,
collar couldn't handle it. I do that. My Euros have access to an area that's that hot.
Yeah.
The Yemens I found weren't really using it, so I got rid of it for them. Now it's like peak, I think 130. The ornate though, she won't leave that spot. She loves it. She just So every animal is going to want different heat or different hide types, so it's all about like finding what that animal's gonna.
It's one of my favorite things about the hobbies. The hobby. Yeah. It's like it's almost like you're doing a new puzzle every time you're dealing with a new species.
Yeah. It's like some people like tinkering with engines, and I like tinkering with enclosures to perfect 100%. It. Yeah.
100%. Do you ever worry about the heat from how hot those lamps get?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's the reason I wouldn't do hot species.
Species
not hot, I guess.
Everything is set up correctly. It's wired correctly. It's plugged into the correct things. It's not overloaded. Like I just so I make sure that I don't overload anything. My computer is in my basement. And I run an extension cord during the day when I'm using it upstairs, which the extension cord is not the best thing because you shouldn't use that but I'd rather do it for my computer than put my computer on this breaker and worry about that.
So you're extending it from upstairs so that it's on a different breaker.
Yeah, this computer is just completely plugged in on its own. Yeah,
Smart.
It provides me with music while I'm working. So that's
if anyone podcasts.
Yeah, we're listening to podcasts. Yeah. So if anyone like has a large collection, I guarantee you listen to music or you listen to podcasts while you're tending to it. It's just it's as much as we all love doing it, it's mind-numbing at times with repetition stuff. Yeah. Like cleaning hatchling bins is not fun. It's fun because you get to see the geckos, but like it's so much poo. Poo is it's just so much
everywhere.
Poo.
I never
it's crazy to me how much little hatchlings will poop. I'll like put them away, and then I'll feed them for like 2-3 days, like after they've shed. And then I open the bin the next day. It's just covered. I'm just like, how this is white. This is white yesterday, and now there's 5 poos in one corner.
It's crazy.
They're just looking at you like, oh, I don't know.
Is that any specific species or just
fat tails? The fat tails do that. Yeah. They like, I don't know what it is. They like wait to take their first poop, and then they take a bunch of poops or something. I don't know.
That's very.
There's always that, but they do pick a spot, which I love. I love species that pick a spot. Because the collards will just go. They just
anywhere.
Yeah, just anywhere. The basking spot, in a hide, it doesn't matter. I have to clean their enclosure constantly. Just like take everything out, sift the sand. If spots are kind of gross sand, like take out that whole area, replace the sand every once in a while. Like their collards are a lot of work.
Okay, we're about to get into poop talk for a minute. So I used to keep mostly tropical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I never really had to. Obviously, a lot of it's like
bioactive,
and there's ice pods, and I never really had to deal with it. And then I started keeping desert species, and wow, it's either the bioactive is really effective, or desert species poop like 10 times more. Because I find the same thing with like the Stenodactylus, the Pictus, all of this stuff I'm keeping on like sand. It seems to doing the same thing. But yeah, so it's interesting that so where I wanted to go with this is it's interesting that you brought up the picking the corner thing. Do you find that it's more of a species thing, or do you find it's an individual thing?
Species, probably.
Yeah.
A lot of terrestrial geckos I find do it. Arboreal geckos don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to be like a terrestrial gecko thing from all the terrestrial geckos I've kept. Knobtails do it from my experience. The fat tails do it. I've had leopard geckos do it. So it mainly seems to be
It's
those
interesting
kind of geckos.
because the Pictus geckos will do it, but the
Mhm.
Stenodactyls, it's almost like it's specific individuals. Like some of them will only poop in one corner, and then some of them it's like all over the place. I have to go looking for it.
Sometimes when they're pooping, like a dog would, some just get stuck and then they run. It could just be
Yeah.
it could just be a log that fell further away, kind of
That's
thing.
true. Yeah, that's true.
Always a possibility. I've seen the collards do that where they go poop and then they just sort of start hopping, but then take another poop, and I'm like, spread it out. Awesome, thanks.
It's interesting. The mountain horn dragons only once I give them the option of like a paludarium with moving running water, they strictly go in the water.
Yeah, I find most species that have that are like kind of, I don't want to call it an aquatic lifestyle, but they're like river dweller type reptiles. And monitors do it a lot too. Monitors and tegus. If you give them water, they'll poop in it.
I don't like wash it down the stream maybe so that it's
could be. My monkey tails do it a lot too. They poop in their water a lot. Yeah, I would say out of everything I keep, probably only the monkey tails do that. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought them up. We're gonna jump to them. We're gonna jump to them very soon. For that, what kind of sand do you keep? What kind of sand do you keep the collards on? Do you have a preference? Do you have a stay away from this sand kind of thing, or not really?
Stay away from any reptile brand.
Oh yeah,
play sand. A bag of play sand. It's for kids. Like it's safe. There's not going to be anything in it. Yeah, like, and if you're like not sure, because a lot of stores, if you're like, hey, can I get play sand? They'll be like, okay, and you might not get a bag that like it. Some of them they say it's play sand, but it's a bit grittier. There's like a bag with like a clown on it.
Okay,
that stuff is mint. If you can get the bag with the clown on it, it's mint. That's
I'm gonna go look for it and send you some pictures. Has to have a clown on it.
It's like a white bag, like you can't see the sand, but it's like a white bag with a clown on it. And it's just like it's so good.
Clearly identifying that this is for kids.
Yeah, like it's clearly identified for kids, and like the sand is actually like I find the finest one, which is which is important. You don't want any. Like you don't want to use any sort of like concrete sand or like mortar type stuff. Anything that's meant to kind of bunch or is bigger. Yeah, like you don't want to use that. So like finely sifted play sand, and if you can find that white clown bag, that's the stuff.
The white clown bag.
Yeah, the white clown. I don't know what it is. It's just like every time I find it, I'm just like, oh, I love this sand.
That's it. It's called the white clown bag.
It works. It works really good. Yeah, and it's really inexpensive. Which when you have animals like the collards that poop as much as they do, you
constantly switching it over,
constantly getting rid of sand. Yeah,
yeah. Well, that's actually why I asked, because it's breeding season, lots of babies, so I have a lot of so it's constant, and I do use reptile brand sand, and it is
like some of it's not bad. It's just it's the expense. It's
costly,
right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, when you're trying to make money doing something, you can't just buy because it's a brand, right? Like I can't. I'd love to support reptile brands because I want to see the reptile industry flourish, but I can pay like $4 for a.
But I'd like to support
bag of sand. More. Yeah, I can pay $4 for a 40-pound bag of sand. I'm doing it. Like,
no, for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of money, how have sales been this summer? Do you find Yeah, go ahead.
No, what were you gonna say?
I was just saying, do you find like a lot of people say like, oh, it's summer, people are out, they're not in the reptile room, so they're not buying animals, they're not buying stuff, and then winter comes and everyone's back in their basement, so it's like now is kind of the busy time of the year. Do you find something similar or not so much?
Summer is like, summer is so I've been in the industry like for 10 years, and summer it's always dead. It's dead for multiple reasons, not just the fact that people either go to their cottages or go on vacation, or the kids are home, so they're really busy. There's like a bunch of reasons, but then on top of that, as breeders, we don't have as much as we typically do until about right now.
Yeah,
I was like, I would have loved to have taken pictures of my geckos in July, but in July they were 2-3 grams.
Yes.
That's even now. I took pictures of them, and they're 6 to 10, and I put, if they're not at 10, they're with me until they're 10.
10 grams.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's, to me, is like an established gecko. If someone is picking it up in person, the 6 is probably fine for like a gargoyle gecko. They're pretty established at like 6 grams. But I'd want them to pick it up in person. I wouldn't want to ship it at that. If I was going to ship it, I would say wait till 10.
It's 10. Yeah. Do you do majority, like, is a lot of your stuff shipping, or is a lot of your stuff sort of like expos and pickups in person?
This year it's probably been expos mainly.
Yeah.
But to answer the last question, this summer has been
All right. Yeah.
beyond the typical bad. We don't feel it. I mean, we feel it. I think there's certain breeders that you can tell right now are feeling it more. Crested gecko breeders. I don't know if you've been on Instagram, but they're all just
everybody's selling their
and,
collection. Yes, but I feel like it's been like that for months at this point.
Yeah, but I think they're all being very vocal about why they're doing it.
They're doing it.
Before they were like, I want to sell geckos. I got to sell some stuff. And now they're just like, nothing's selling. I have to sell.
Yeah.
And there's people getting out because of it. And then, there's people like making videos being like, oh, the crested gecko market, it always does this in like waves. And that is historically true. The crested gecko market has very much gone in waves.
Yeah.
The problem with the last wave that happened during, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the word.
Go ahead.
If you put it on YouTube, the pandemic. Are you
Oh,
allowed to say that?
I don't know.
No.
Yeah, the pandemic.
Yeah. So during the pandemic, the wave of people just being at home, the amount of people that got into crested geckos was insane. It was not a wave. That was a tsunami. And it was a tsunami of ugly subpar geckos that were being bred so that people could spread the lily white gene, the frappuccino, just whatever gene. They were just like plastering that thing. The dive that lily whites have taken in price, it just everyone's like, oh, it's because like everybody's breeding. It's like, no, it's not because everybody's breeding it. It's because the original people that got it, and everyone, like the first probably like 100 people that got it, probably got males, or at least hopefully got males, and just we're going plaster. You just saw that. You probably saw that drama on Instagram like a month ago, maybe, about the one breeder who was going to pair the one lily white to like 70. I don't know. It was something ridiculous. Okay. But it was just like stuff like that is why the prices dive the way they did. And then you had a bunch of other people doing it, and so that market, when there's people being like, oh, it'll go back up again. I don't think it will the same way it did before. There's such an excess of those animals right now, which is why earlier I said we're not going to breed ours anymore, because there's going to be a lot of crested geckos that are going to need homes eventually. So I'd rather
crested geckos.
Yeah, I'd rather not contribute to that. I'm all about trying to provide people with pets that they maybe can't get somewhere else, or can't get as high quality of one, or they're worried about, getting it from somewhere and it might not be the best kind of thing. Like, and that's why I got into the collars, I was like, oh, there's people will want these in Canada. And I've seen it. Like, I see so many people now like getting into them in Canada. And I think that's wicked, because like they're one of the best pet lizards. So it's like, yeah.
Before you brought them to the expos, I wasn't seeing them anywhere.
That's what I mean. Now I see them like everywhere now. So
let's talk about the monkey tail skinks.
Okay.
So first of all, I've also been I've also been seeing them a little. I don't want to say they're not everywhere, like you're saying with the collars, but I've been seeing them a little more frequently recently. Is this a product of them being wild caught and sort of still being imported?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so they're not more commonly being captive bred now.
No.
Okay.
No, it's such a long time. It's such a long time to get a female to size.
Okay.
And then it's
what's
such a long time?
Like 3-4 years?
5.
Wow.
Probably about 5. Yeah. Some people say 3. No,
They're wrong.
Yeah, like I have adults that are long-term captive, a pair, and they're massive, absolutely massive. You
I've
saw
seen
them,
them,
right?
yeah.
They're huge.
They're huge.
And
Like
then
probably my forearm, maybe.
yeah, without the tail,
Yeah. Without
And
the
then,
tail, yes.
yeah, and then I have the other ones that I have that you saw are a bit younger than 3, not
Yeah.
even close to the size of those other things.
Yeah.
Those other 2 are beasts. So yeah, it takes a long time to get them to maturity. You have to get a compatible pair, and then you have to wait pretty much human baby amount of time, a bit shorter, to get a baby.
Yeah. And you just got some babies, right? Like I guess it's been a couple of months now.
I did, yeah. My pair that I was talking about, the big long-term captives that I've had for I think 2 years now. They had a pair of twins.
That's awesome. Is that normal? Like, is twins common?
So it's not common, but it's not it's heard of. It's not uncommon. It's not common. It does happen.
Is it usually like one baby at a time?
No, she pushed one out, and the next one pretty much followed. He was sitting behind her when the next one started coming out.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, we got to watch because I just had this like I'm gonna go. I always checked on her because I could tell she was big, but I've never worked with them before. So the whole time I kept just going to my wife like I don't think they're I don't think it happened. I don't think it happened. And I think I was even saying that to you. You kept being like you think, and I was like I don't know. Maybe she's big, but I don't know. Some days she doesn't look big. And then I was just like doing my usual 8 time into the reptile room check a day, and I saw her on the ground, and I just saw like kind of like this wet slimy thing behind her.
You're like it's happening.
And I lost it. I just lost it.
Did you think something was wrong at first?
No, I think at first I thought like, oh, gross, a poo, like a really big poo. And then I realized the poo was scaled and colored
and
like
moving.
moving. Yeah. So I like lost my mind, and I like set up my phone to like record it, so I didn't have to like be there bothering her. I kind of like off to the angle, tried to get some.
Yeah. Did you
some clips of it?
Did it take a long time?
I didn't see her giving birth to the first one. By the time I got down there, it was sitting behind her, all slimy.
Yes.
So I don't know how long she was doing that for. I was doing work in the other room, so
yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah, I tend to do the collards during the day, and then I take like a little break to do me, and then I go back to work at night, so I can kind of I like seeing the nocturnal stuff out, just because I can. It's like a health check without bothering them. Because if I want to health check a leechy during the day, I'm poking a butt out of cork. I'm probably getting bit. I don't want to do it. It's more bothersome to them for me to do it during the day, even though it's easier technically in terms of like, they're kind of sleeping. If they're out, I can do it. But if any of them are hidden, it's just ultra disturbance to their life.
For sure. What are your light cycles on? Like, are the monkey-tailed skinks nocturnal?
They kind of just do whatever they want. Yeah, they're very everything. Like they'll sometimes they want food at like 8 a.m. and sometimes they want food at like 2 a.m.
Okay, yeah.
So they're the weirdest of all. They're my favorites, but they're the weirdest of all of my animals. Just having as many as I do and being able to see like all the different behaviors of like my one trio kind of being like, who are we as we grow sort of thing. The other two being like an established pair that have been together a long time, and then having the 2 babies in with them now that they're taking care of, and watching them take care of them.
Do you see any like parental behavior?
Yeah. Yes. She used to be, no, I wouldn't call her handleable. It was more of like, leave me alone and I'll leave you alone. Now I cannot go near the enclosure if a baby is out.
Okay.
If a baby is out trying to eat or get water or bask or just do whatever it wants to do, she is on full alert watching the front of the enclosure. And if I come to it, she just darts at the front of it.
That's super interesting. Okay, yeah. Do they
The
come
dad
out?
though, he's a dad. He's
Yeah.
just yeah, he's just sort of like, don't mess around, kids. But he like sits at the top
Yeah.
basking, and he still comes up to me and will climb out onto me.
You
So
want them, take them.
yeah,
Yeah. You want my
yeah,
kids? They're all yours.
he's funny. He's like one of my friendlier ones. So
He's the one you pulled out actually when I was there.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. He's
yeah.
James Jr.
James Jr. Yes, yes,
J,
yes.
J, yeah, JJ.
JJ.
JJ and BJ, James Jr. and Bree Jr.
Bree Jr. I love it. Yes, that's that's very funny. Yeah, yeah. I'm still mind blown at the parental behavior thing. What do they eat? Do they feed them or do they just sort of? 'Cause they eat
So
greens, right? They're vegetable.
they do. They're
Yeah,
herbivores.
that's the right word. Thank you.
Some people feed the parents poo. Like
Like
they
your
don't take it.
mastics.
Yes, yeah, like they don't take it out. It's that's very herbivory.
Okay.
Herbivores do that just because having a strictly herbivorous diet is you need weird gut flora. So it's basically them
Establishing the gut flora.
fauna. Sorry, yeah, gut flora, fauna, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Just getting that going is why they eat the poo. So I didn't clean the poop out for. I didn't let it get disgusting, but I didn't any
Just kinda
you know,
let it
any
sit there,
yeah,
yeah.
any fresh poo I would leave it kind of thing, and I'm pretty sure they ate that for the first bit.
You did see it, yeah.
And then the parents they just kind of kept on their regular. That night after she gave birth, she was eating greens again.
Sure.
We do all garden grown greens, flowers out of the garden as well. We probably grow like 15 plus maybe types of edible flowers.
Yeah.
There's veggies out of the garden that we feed them but rarely. And then they get fruit as well. I'll feed them Pangea sometimes. So
They'll like lick it up as well.
Oh, it's like
that's
crack. It's like crack to them.
Yeah.
They love it. When I'm making it in the room, I see them like getting ready. All of the skinks, the blue tongues, the pink tongues. When I'm making it, all I see is just like tongues flicking everywhere.
Do you give them like for the blue tongues, there's like a blue tongue skink diet from Rapashi, right?
I don't feed that. I just feed like a James slurry.
James slurry. So it's just, but it's like it's not. You don't let it harden into like cubes. It's sort of like still a slurry, like a ketchup kind of thing, right?
No, I don't like freeze anything. I don't like freezing foods or
yeah.
I'll dry flowers for the winter, but I don't dry greens or anything like that. Fresh stuff's really important. Fresh for herbivores, fresh food is good, and for carnivores, whole prey is good. It's just that's life.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
life.
wondering. I'm wondering if the emerald tree skinks will take any of that dried flour. I still have a bag from Bree from like 2 expos or 3 expos ago.
They might. I've seen them eat the flower off of the spider plant that's in there with them.
Okay.
At which I was just like, I didn't think you would do that, but
yeah,
they're mine are the olives though. They're
right. Yeah,
they're they're so similar.
Still younger though, right?
I think I've had them for a year now.
Okay. Yeah.
So like they're probably about a bit over a year old.
Like, but size wise, closer to full grown, or
I don't know what adult olive skink size looks like. Yeah, this is like a learning experience for me with them. I love them.
Yeah,
I love them. Yeah. They're awesome. Are
they so super active as well?
They're always doing something. They go wild for crickets. Like the chase they put on is impressive. Yeah. And they'll eat right out of my hands. Like, yeah, they're cool. They're cool skinks.
For sure. I have the emerald tree skinks in that, and it's like right opposite my couch. It's my TV. They're always
they're so entertaining. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, they're definitely something I would love to see more of. Because again, good pet reptile.
Yes.
They seem to be okay with interaction.
Yeah.
For the most part. Not all of them, but
I think a handling.
You got wild caught.
But, yeah, so my experience is a little bit different. You're right. But I feel
I'm working with captive bred like babies from someone. So
right. But even then they're not. I don't feel like they're ever going to be a species that you can scoop up, put on your lap, and just sit and watch TV. You know what I mean?
they're
always
like
on the move.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Like Kayla's has she's got, is it the emerald? I think she has the
She has the emerald,
too,
same
right?
ones I have. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what she does with them in all her like little videos where
Yes.
they're crawling, like
Crawling with her
that's
hand.
pretty much what you should expect to get out of
Yes.
those.
Yeah. So that's
same with like the Persina. Don't expect more than that.
really
They're very explory. They'll come run all around you with no fear of you. If you try to restrain or lift to move, they just do this little like quick dart a little bit further, so they're further away, and they're like, no, I'm exploring. Stop.
Yeah. You don't have any of them at the moment, right?
I do. Yeah, I have a pair of Persina.
Yeah. Did you have those when I came over?
Yeah, they wouldn't come out, and then I think the male might have come out and done a tongue flick at us and then left. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember because we were talking about it afterwards of how they like sort of tripod, and you were telling me how they do this.
Yeah, they tripod and Gene Simmons tongue. It's the funniest thing when they're angry.
Yeah, I would love to see it. Like, yeah, I actually really like Gastrophilus Persina. I wanted the pair before I got the Emerald Tree Skinks, and then I was like, I'm just gonna do the Emerald Tree Skinks instead. And I don't know if I don't want to say I regret it because I really do love the Emerald Tree Skinks, but I'm curious to know what working with the Gastrophilus is like. And so now you say, or I guess the Persina, but you saying now that they're similar and not calmer is kind of just
they're maybe a bit calmer.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe a bit calmer. Yeah, just because the skinks the skinks are very like lead me with food, and then once I'm on you, it's fine. The Persina will just come to you. Like at least my female will. She'll like come right onto my hand.
Yeah, and I feel like
but she doesn't want to be restrained. So like, yeah, the body shape is similar and they move very similar where they can do those quick little spurts where they kind of just snake wiggle really quickly. Yeah. And they'll do that anytime you try to restrict them. So yeah, they're not a handleable thing, but they're interactive, which is, in my opinion, just as cool.
Just as cool. Yeah, of course. I think a lot of the reptiles, like, I love that I can hold the mountain horn dragons, but one of my favorite things about them is how they're sitting in the tank. Like, it's sort of the display aspect of it, right?
Yeah. Even same thing with the collars. Like, I love the fact that almost all of them are just the most like social, outgoing little lizards. Yeah. I was dying laughing today because I went in there to go. I water first and then I feed, and I was replacing the adult's water, and I turned around to go leave the room, and that's where one of the baby's enclosures is, and there was just 9 of them in a line across the front, just waiting for crickets.
They're waiting for crickets, right?
I had never seen so many of them just in a row, lined up, just staring at me.
It's time. I know it's time.
Yeah. So I went and got the crickets for them. But yeah, they're just like the funniest little lizards.
Are they do you feed them daily?
Twice for the babies.
Twice a day?
Twice a day for the first little bit, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because I was finding some of them weren't getting food the first time because there was just bullies. Not even bullies. There was ones that were really good hunters, and there's ones that were a normal hunter, but there's some of them they'll see a cricket crawling up the side and they'll do a backflip to grab it, whereas other ones try to grab it, they just smash into the side and go down. So
like, screw it.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Oh, I always look at it as like, in the wild, the one that's doing the backflip is probably surviving.
Yeah.
But it's like, so I just prefer to do the twice a day. I make sure everyone gets fed, and then I always monitor during feeding too, just because I am keeping them together. Anytime you're keeping small agamids together, bearded dragons or these guys, you have a short amount of time to do it. And while you're doing it, you got to watch them, because the tail tips are just so fine. You know, a lot of people see breeders where they're like, a collared lizard's missing its tail tip, and they're like, oh, like it got bit off or what, that's so horrible. But it's like, they're so fine. Like they're like at the tip of their tail, it is so tiny when they are small.
Break off easy.
Yeah, so it just takes, the smallest little nip can just remove a little piece of the tip of their tail. So
does it go
back? No, but there doesn't influence them in any way. Yeah,
I'm sure more of them in the wild probably look like that.
For sure. But again, that's why I monitor during feeding. If I see 2 getting too close, just I put my hand between them.
Yeah.
And then they each get a cricket. Yeah, well, they each get a cricket, and then I'll move on, make sure no one else is. And I just do it enclosure at a time for the babies. The adults they understand what each other are at that point.
Right.
They don't look at tails wiggling and feet wiggling as a cricket, so they're easier. You can just toss them in.
That's very interesting. What well, we ended up with the collards again. What if see, we're gonna okay. What locale and or subspecies? There we go. Is did you have babies from this year?
So colorus, or like the Wichita Mountain locale. And then we've got
That's the one you commonly have at the expos.
Yeah,
right?
that's the one I typically bring to expos. And then we had a small clutch of Melon Immaculatus, just one clutch.
That's awesome. And you were telling me you ended up with 2 males, right? Was it?
Yeah, 2.1. Yeah, so 2
2.1.
males, 1 female. So I probably won't keep them. I was listening to Animals at Home, Dylan.
Dylan Byrne,
For the he had a leopard gecko breeder on.
Okay.
And she was talking about basically how she holds back very small amounts of her own animals. It was like she keeps like small percentile as her own animals as holdbacks. So I didn't fully agree with all of it, but I did like the idea of outsourcing more. So
right.
I don't think I'll probably hold anything back from anything this year, and I'll bring in other lines with some of what I would have, selling what I would have held back, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because I really like that philosophy, because it's a healthier philosophy for the reptile breeding community.
Yeah, the ethics of reptile keeping, for sure. That way you're constantly mixing it up, not get fresh genetics in there, all that.
Yeah. And some stuff we're not even working with any new wild caught individuals in any way.
Yeah.
So it's even more important in that aspect to diversify with other people.
For sure. Do collards fall under this boat, or are they still sort of being imported every now and then?
There's people in the States just like go catch them.
Catch them. Yeah.
Yeah, they just go catch them. Yeah.
And I think in certain areas there's no laws against catching something and keeping it, right?
So it's like
state to state.
I was gonna say typical states to state. So but there's certain guys who just catch them. You can go certain places and just catch them. Same with chucks in certain places, chuckwallas.
Yeah.
Those are cool. I'd love those eventually. Cool. That'd be dope. Yeah.
But they're really big, right?
No, they're like
Savannah monitor adult size.
No, like a small, like a Euromastix.
Okay.
Yeah, probably closest to a Euromastix.
Interesting. All the pictures I've seen of them made them look really big.
Yeah, I think there's some bigger chucks, like the. I'm probably gonna get it wrong, like San Esteban or something like that.
We can also.
Oh yeah, true. I'm like sitting on a computer, aren't I?
Yeah.
San Esteban chuckwalla is the largest species of chuckwalla, so 24 inches. So like it's not that big, but you're right. It could look large. I don't know. Yeah.
Or like even compared to the collards, that seems. How big do the collards get? 12, 13?
No, if you're including the tail, yeah. But
okay,
without it, there may be 5, 6.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
They're so hard to tell.
Quite a big difference.
You like frog their body a lot, right? They're very like stout animals. They have big heads. Their body's pretty like if they didn't have tails, you would a lot of people would be like, oh, look at that weird looking frog.
Right.
They look like little frogs. They spread their legs back like frogs. So
I kind of have an image of exactly what you're talking about in my head, like almost the way they look at you with like I kind of see it.
They perch up and they
look at you. Back. Yeah. Head turned a little bit. Very froggish.
Weird, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so you said you're not going to hold any of them back.
Yeah.
Which means, are you bringing them to the Canadian Reptile Breeders Expo?
That will depend on them.
On them on
size.
The expo?
No,
on the animals. Okay.
On the collards.
Okay.
I'm really big on. I just want animals to be like healthy and ready to go. So those guys hatched pretty
late,
pretty close. Yeah, pretty late-ish.
Yeah.
They may be ready. They may not be. If they're ready, they're gonna come. But I'm not sure yet. They're still pretty small. They're not growing as fast as the Wichitas, I find. I'm obviously working with a really small base, only having the 2.1. But the Wichitas just grow like weeds, like just absolute weeds. They just don't stop. Every day I go in and I'm like, "Who are you?" And you're like, "Oh, you're this one. You changed a little bit because you're like way bigger now."
Can you tell them apart, all 9 of them or whatever?
I mean, like, so when I had the first like 5, yeah. When I had the first 11, probably. I think I'm at over like 30 now.
You have over 30 babies at the moment?
Yeah.
Wow.
I might be able to point the first original 5 out still. Maybe.
Yeah. But not really the rest.
No, it gets honestly, it gets easier when they're bigger. When they're really small, they all look very similar. The first 5 now are at a size where I could kind of give people like a rough idea what they might look like whether they're going to be like a bluer base or an oranger base or a grayer base. So
And they're sexable right out of the egg, right?
Yeah. I don't usually sex out of the egg because they're just so
fragile.
Gangly. Yeah, they're just like gangly little weird things, and I don't want to bother them. But yeah, as soon as they shed, I sex them usually then just to see what I got.
And it's not a color thing; it's like a pore thing.
So it's a mixture. I don't know if they probably are pore. No, they're probably not pores. Maybe they're pores. So there's 2 things. Females will have a black dot behind their vent on each side of it. It's just like a patch of scales that's like a little bit darker. Like sometimes it honestly isn't even black. It's just like a smoky gray, like little circles on each side. And then the males have on the tail side of the vent, like because most pores are above the vent.
Right, tail side under. Yeah.
So this is the opposite. The other side
on the tail itself.
On the tail itself, if you go down a couple rows, males will have a thicker row of scales that look kind of waxy.
Okay.
But they don't have pits in them. Like they're not pores, but they might be like they do look shinier. So it could be like a secretion thing, but it just works differently. I'm not too sure, to be honest.
That's very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, but so you can sex both kind of thing. Like it's not like if you can't find the dots, you can find the other one sort of thing. So
yeah, right. That makes sense. Yeah. And color, both sexes have like similar colors. It doesn't really
yeah, no, they all are identical right now in terms of colors. There's some orange in them, and grays. Some of them are starting to get up.
The other day, that orange on it was crazy.
Yeah, so it's basically varying degrees of orange at this size.
Yeah.
The blue doesn't typically come out until like 6 months. Some of them it takes up to a year. And then usually when they hit a year, they'll start hitting sexual maturity. Some will hit it like 7 months to 8 months ish earlier, where they'll go bluer then. But for the most part, it's probably around like a year they get really blue.
That's interesting. Cool. Yeah. So what else are you bringing to the expo? Unless you don't want to say it.
Yeah, no, I'd rather people knew. We're actually really doing a really. Oh, I got a lily coming. We have a really big update coming on our Morph market and our website, topshelfgeckos.ca. We're gonna have a bunch of Chihuahua geckos, like some really nice Pine Isle Chihuahua geckos. We're bringing the collared lizards. We're gonna have like really nice like enclosures, like I usually do, set up for them. We're gonna be bringing African fat tails, of course. We'll be bringing some sub-adult like multi-gene stuff because I've decided I'm gonna I want to focus on my normals for a little bit. I want to refine those a bit more because I think they're just kind of underrated. Leopard gecko people have kind of done this thing where they've made all these beautiful variations just through line breeding things and kind of like isolating the genes they do want and combining other animals from other people. There's a lot of guys in the States that are producing some really bright orange African fat tails that I'd love to get from them. Yeah. So like I would love to get some from them and add that to my orange thing. I'm working on like a spot line of African fat tails right now, where the mom seems to be throwing babies with like black paradox spots on them.
Interesting.
So I've had two that she passed it. I'll put it quotes passed it on
Pass
to.
on to them. Yeah.
But it was only this one season after kind of figuring out like what I thought was creating it. So I'm going to see if that keeps going. I don't know if that will, but they're all like super healthy, which always makes me happy when something new, maybe new pops up and they're kind of like healthy.
Yeah. Are you going to pair it with the same meal next year?
I'm not fully sure what I'm going to do yet. It's pretty far off. So I'm at a point in my season right now where I kind of like, I got to see the babies. I got to see what happened.
Yeah.
And I haven't really been able to like decide what I'm going to do after that. Cause then it just goes, cause it pretty much, our season pretty much goes like the fat tails hatch. And then as the fat tails are finishing, the new cows kind of start blowing up. And then as the new cows are kind of midway through blowing up, the collards start blowing up. So since then I just haven't stopped. Yeah. So sure. It was like, oh, cool, fat tails are and then you just sort of
the next
get taken over. Yeah,
for sure. That's cool. Are you bringing anything else, or is that's
no? Yeah, we'll have gargoyle geckos, a bunch of like my orange stripe line, bringing some nice males.
Now that you know you have them.
Yeah. What else are we going to bring? Morning geckos.
Cool.
We'll have a couple of crested geckos just from our pair that are like from the last crested geckos we will produce.
Yeah.
What else I'm going to be bringing. We have a Leachianus that we're going to be bringing.
Cool.
Big GT. I'm just not looking to. I want to work more on my chewies. I really like my Chihuahua. So
what was that other thing that you mentioned this morning as well?
Oh yeah, so we had stillborn Rhacodactylus trachyrhynchus trichocephalus, I think is what they are. They'd be lesser rough-snouted geckos.
And they also are a live bear, right?
They are, yeah. So we had two stillborns this morning, which was
disappointing.
Pretty disheartening. Yeah, that's 2 years in a row.
Did you get stillborns last year as well?
I did, but they were much less developed than this year.
Okay.
So that's me trying to be positive as a breeder with something that's really rare. You really want it to be successful.
For sure.
Yeah. Certain hits are a little bit harder because of what they are, right? Some fat tail eggs going moldy or some gargoyle eggs going moldy it sucks, but it's not a big deal. But yeah, when something is that rare, where I think there's probably only like 4 or 5 pairs maybe in Canada.
Can you say the species name again? Sorry.
It's I stand to be corrected because there's 2 of them, and I might be referring to the other one, but I believe it's Rhacodactylus trachyrhynchus trichocephalus.
Cool. Okay.
And then there's Rhacodactylus trachyrhynchus, I think, which are the graders, and I have lessers.
Okay, so cool. That makes sense.
Yeah, so they're like smaller ones.
They look a lot like a mix of the other new cows.
Yeah, I always tell people they're kind of a mixture of Leachies, Chewies, and Sarahs.
Yeah, look-wise.
They have mine have like little white spots going down their back, like Sarah's. Okay. Their body is kind of like a mixture of a Chewy and a Sarah. Their face is very rough, like very the Leachies.
Yeah, Leachy shaped almost too.
Yeah, there's no crusty in there, thank God.
You don't need the little eyelashes to be added on, or the little
no. Yeah, they are very they're really cool. I really have enjoyed keeping them, and yeah, it's a little bit of a disheartening morning. Just live bearers,
and it's a once a year thing, right? So now you're kind of waiting till next year. Okay.
Yeah, we wait till late August, early September next year.
Are you going to try something different, or do you sort of not have any ideas of why this is happening?
I have some ideas of what I'm going to try. But I don't, I honestly think I'm more just ironing out the kinks of having them here. The first year that they gave birth here was they had just been transferred to me. They were most likely, I bought them from my friend. They were most likely pregnant without him knowing. And then I got them, and then she gave birth a few months later. So it was like, okay, you know,
You moved. That could have been the stress.
moves. Yeah, moves are stressful.
For sure.
And then there was, you know, this year where it's like, okay, you know, maybe this is the kinks year. So I'll definitely, you know, it's easier with stuff that lays eggs.
Yes.
You know, you can kind of go, okay, the egg wasn't that calcified. Maybe I need to up the calcium, or the female crashed really hard. The calcium needed to be upped, or maybe they just looked really skinny, not so much the cows crash, and you needed to feed them more. She looked so healthy the whole time. She still looks really great today after giving birth to the two of them. And so it's just kind of, it's more so, I think I'll probably speak to other people more so, and try to figure out things maybe
difference
that they're doing that I could implement here. So that probably is where I'll go. It's really just a good resource to be able to speak with people that are, you know, working with them.
Is there a Facebook group, or are you in contact with other keepers?
I know people who have them. Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, so why don't we wrap it up on this? Any future projects that we haven't discussed yet? There's some really cool stuff that's coming down the pipeline. Is there anything coming down the pipeline? Is there something cool coming down the pipeline that you don't want to discuss?
No, I mean, yeah, like it's just been so, this year's been really like busy, but not busy.
Kind of a stay afloat year. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, so I definitely don't have elaborate plans. Yeah, I'd love to be like, I got this going on, but it's right now, it's really like, I feel like a lot of people in this industry are kind of just sort of feeling it out sort of thing right now. Sure. I'll never go anywhere. I'm not going to be like, I'm getting out of reptiles, but I'll definitely probably be, I used to do like a lot of website work, like building websites. So I'll probably honestly try to get a couple clients. Yeah. Just cause it's been not a good year for it's just not a good year for money. It's not a good year
for everybody, for all industries.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, like we all do the like, oh, you know, it's really bad this year, but
it's just bad everywhere.
It's just really bad everywhere. Yeah. And as much as we maybe don't want to admit it, these are very, like, I don't want to call them novelty pets, but they're not. You don't need to have reptiles. And
of course,
I understand that, which is why I'm not trying to overproduce what I've got. It's a luxury, exactly. Yeah, that's a better word than novelty. Yeah, no, luxury was what I was looking for. Yeah, so it's I no big plans. I think right now I'm focused on getting my monkey tails enclosures finished up. I've got them the base all slapped together, like the frame of it, and the walls up. I just got to dry lock it.
Oh, you're building it yourself?
Yeah, well, I do. Cool. I build most of my own enclosures. I'm really picky about enclosures, and the only person that I've seen build enclosures to the quality that I would want my enclosures is Ontario iguanas.
Yes.
Like, yeah. Yes. Her enclosure, they're insane. I know. Beautiful. We one at one expo, me and Bree saw one that we wanted, and we were trying to figure out how to fit a 5x3 enclosure into our little tiny car. And we're just like, no, we just couldn't do it.
It'll work.
Yeah, it was just so beautiful. But I built most of my own for the whole time, I think, pretty much. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, my first reptile ever, I just built his enclosure because I got a Savannah monitor as my first reptile, and
it's hard to find enclosures for the right size for these.
And that was it. I wanted to do it right, so I just took pieces of I mean, I wouldn't have used melamine and using everything I know now, but I used the full sheets of melamine and just like just put them all in just big box made out of full sheets, no cuts. So yeah.
Why won't you use it now? Is it something like, was it because of the heat and
Uh,
melted, or?
It's like the wood inside of melamine is like really bad wood.
Starts to go bad.
It's got a lot of vapors. If wood gets in it, if water gets in it, it rots so fast. Yeah, and for a lot of, like, for monitors at least, they're gonna burrow.
Yeah.
Like that used to be like what I loved in reptiles was like monitors. I was super into monitors. And then I was kind of like, oh yeah, people can't do this right for the most part.
Yeah.
There's definitely people doing it really well, like
Sure.
Cody out in Alberta.
I'm not familiar.
It's like Cody Joe, I think is Cody Joe. I forget his last name, but he has like a store out there, like a reptile store.
Okay, is he friends with Mike?
Yeah, he's got a lot of tattoos.
On Mike's videos. I've seen him in Mike's videos. Yeah. I know.
I'm saying that like he's a degenerate. I'm like, he's got a lot of tattoos.
And then you put your hands up.
Covered in tattoos. Yeah, no. Yeah, but yeah, he keeps his monitors like in really big enclosures, and like he's not, throwing like 80 animals. You can tell he's got like a passion for it, and it's like it's kind of a rare thing in because like they kind of do get that like oh, it's so big, it's so cool, like that attention sort of thing.
Yes. And then people giving you the minimum sizes of, oh yeah, it'll be fine in something like this. And
no, they need like, that was my thing. I was like, I would love to like have a savanna, but like, I just can't have that. The monkey tails are
your thing.
Yeah, they're my biggest reptile, which like I get people can take care of bigger, but like my monkey tail enclosures are massive, the ones I'm building.
Yeah.
So I'm just
Are you gonna put the trio together?
So the trio lives together right now.
Already, okay, cool.
Yeah, so they're already living together, and then the pair lives together. My biggest concern with it is moving the babies and the pair with the babies into a new enclosure.
Are you gonna keep the babies
I would like to keep them all together right now. My plan is to hopefully set up some sort of large tube system to basically allow them to slowly kind of go in to the new enclosure from the old one.
Okay, cool.
So that they don't take it as... I'm just concerned about moving the babies and the adults and having the adults not reject the babies, but be like aggressive towards them once they're in a new area, because they might not look at them as their children in that new area. So yeah, that's kind of, I'm going to figure something out there, but that's the biggest thing in my pipeline is building 2 massive enclosures right now.
Yeah, that's super interesting. And that's a really good idea too, because they can slowly make it, I guess, more of their habitat. Like, oh, this is also now ours. They're sort of marking their territory in there, and then move the babies in. And
that was kind of my thought, was that the parents would go first and then be like, yeah, it's fine over here.
Come on,
opposed to me taking everyone and just being like, plunk here.
Yeah, this is your new spot.
Sort it out. Yeah, the old spot's gone. This is it now. I don't know. I really I want low stress. I'd also like if they bred again eventually.
Do you expect some next year, or is it like not really?
Some people say yearly, some people say not yearly. I don't know. I'd be okay if they didn't. I don't plan on selling them currently, so if they didn't, it's fine. They're out of everything here, they're definitely like the babies of my collection. Yeah. Like those animals have shown me a lot of reptile behaviors that like I didn't know were things. Yeah. Just like tongue communication, like how much they use their tongues to touch each other. And I don't know what it's communicating, but they very much will. They're like rapidly do it sometimes. Sometimes it's slow. Yeah, they just, something's going on. some form of something. Yeah.
They're smarter than people think they are.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they get like, it's the name and then they're a little goofy, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but they're definitely something that if you have like if people have interest in them, then you need to be interested in breeding them.
Do you think in X amount of years, 4, 5, 10, whatever it is, that they will become? So right now it's like I said, we see them, but like most people are scared of even keeping them, or there's a lot of misconceptions on them. Or do you think they could become a more, I don't want to say like a crested gecko, but like something a little more common than what they are now?
The problem with them is again the 5-year maturity,
Right.
and the 1, maybe 2 babies a year.
A year, yeah.
Right.
It'll never breed out as fast as.
Yeah. There's I've seen crested geckos throw like 16 eggs in a year.
I've had 16 eggs in a year. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah. So it's just. Yeah. And so no, just because of that, they just can't.
It'll never,
it's
never
just
possible. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good and bad.
It's yeah.
It's good because I don't want anything. I don't want them to get to that degree.
For sure.
It's an unhealthy degree.
Yeah.
I'm not. I know I shit on crested geckos a lot. Like I think there's a billion better reptiles. I don't think they're bad reptiles. And I think people need to like chill on them. I think it's part of my gripe with them is just people need to chill. Just like I understand that like you think it's cute and stuff, but a lot of other breeders of other species are breeding for high quality.
Yes.
And a lot of crested geckos are getting bred to have baby geckos.
And that's it. Yeah, no, it's true. It's true.
Yeah, and that's I wouldn't want the monkey tails to get there. Like things like morphs, like I was just saying about how I want to focus more on my normals. It's because things like morphs are starting to scare me.
Yeah.
Because when they pop up, I feel like everyone goes, "Oh, that animal gained value," and I'm like, "Oh, that animal just lost like all of its value to me."
Like, it's kind of that animal just became a lot unhealthier.
Yeah, and it's like people get excited, and it's great because there's more interest in the animals, I guess, but there's just so many cool things out of the way they are. I don't need more. And if monkey tails got like that in any way, like there was someone trying to sell like what they said was an anery monkey tail on Morph Market at one point. And I was just like, let's not.
I don't think this is a good idea.
Yeah, like they're just like the Solomon Islands is it's in really bad shape in like a billion ways.
Yes.
Like a billion ways. The people there are not very well off. They can't afford electricity in most cases. It's one of the highest electricity costs on the planet. And one of the only ways that they can make money is illegal logging and legal logging, both of them. So it's like it's almost like it's a doomed thing. Not fully, but I worry about those animals with the way they get imported and how goofy they are.
Yeah.
Like I say that like it's a joke, but it's like they just looking at them, they're goofy looking.
They're goofy looking. They really are. Yeah.
And that's what makes people like them. But we need people to like them and want to help them. So breeding multiple, like me breeding them, it is maybe not helping them fully, but I'm making sure less will need to come out of the wild eventually.
Yeah, for sure.
And so if anyone is getting them, we need to get them to that point where there's enough that the dogs are going to lose it. I think Bree's coming home.
Yeah.
So if we're getting to a point where there's enough people doing it, then we won't have the issue of the importing. But it means right now, if anyone has interest in them, that they kind of need to it's a good way to put it, like respect the animal almost, right?
Yeah, like the animal shouldn't be coming out of the wild to be going to somebody's house as a pet and just kind of disappearing into ether. Whereas if it is having the trouble of going out of the wild, somebody might as well like try to breed them and have. I get your concept 100%.
Yeah, and I can tell you for a fact that my babies, the captive bred babies, they already think I'm wicked. I bring Pangea.
Yeah.
I'm awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You supply
Mom-
the Pangea.
Mom will try to eat me when I'm trying to feed them out of a cup because I want to get pictures of them. But they very much, they are. Captive bred is better in this instance. I can tell you that for sure.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And it's just in general with reptiles, you're gonna just get that over and over again. Lily is just popping off.
It's okay. It's a good addition. But anyway, we'll wrap it up. We'll wrap it up on that point. Anyway, it's already been an hour and 30 minutes. James, thank you very much for coming on. Thank you for getting the ball rolling. Thank you for this was okay. So if you made it this far in the episode, let me know what you think. We tried to go a different route. This was supposed to be just like a hangout. It was super easy. This was the first time I never wrote any questions either. Like for real, this was super like it's just easier to do. So let me know if you like this format. We'll start doing more of them. But James, thank you very much for coming on. Can you let everyone know, other than the CRBE in 2 weeks, where can they find you?
Oh God, 2 weeks. It's so soon.
It's crazy. I know.
Okay. So obviously Instagram, Top Shelf Geckos, Facebook, Top Shelf Geckos. We're doing a big update. When I get off the computer doing this, I'm going right back to sexing stuff to try to get that up this week. Which I mean, I guess will be a bit later at this point, but so hopefully there'll be some geckos and some collared lizards on the website once this is up. So www.topshelfgeckos.ca. And then, like you said, we will be at the CRB, which is apparently 2 weeks away.
Yes, sir. Actually, by the time this episode comes out, it'll be 2 weeks away. So we're about like 2 weeks and 4-ish days or something like that. But we're close to it, yeah.
I'm going a lot slower on sexing stuff than I thought. There's more than I thought. So maybe the update will line up perfectly. There'll be stuff on the website for sure, though. And anything that's purchased for pickup at the CRB, because we love when people pick stuff up instead of having to ship it, is 10% off.
Awesome. There you go. We'll put all of that information in the details, and we'll have to announce that somewhere as well. But yeah, awesome. Thank you very much once again. And also, you said you're doing auto as well, right?
Yes, yeah, we're 90% sure. Just gotta check with the dog sitter. Other than that, we're good to go.
So yeah, we'll keep you guys updated on that. CRBE, come see Top Shelf. Check out their website. Check out their Instagram, and come see them in Ottawa and make me happy by coming to the Ottawa Pet Expo. Awesome. Thank you all very much for listening, for watching. Daffy's Reptiles on all social media platforms. Daffy's Roundtable for the podcast, but you're listening, so you already knew that. See you all in the next one. And cut. Awesome.